Okay, so to get started with creating your very first automation within your account, once you've logged in and you found yourself here on the dashboard, click on Automation tab here on the left-hand sidebar. This will automatically redirect us to the Workflows tab within the Automation section. And this is where we can start managing all of our existing and newly created workflows and automation. So to create a new automation, or workflow as it's called inside of the software, click on Create Workflow up here in the top right corner. This will then prompt us to either select from a recipe or a pre-built template, or to start from scratch. If you wanted to select a recipe, by clicking on that, it's going to open up a new page with an entire list of pre-built templates and automations inside of here that we've created for you. If you'd rather go down this route, just click select on the automation that you'd want, personalize it within a few clicks, and you're going to have an automation pre-built, up and running and active in your business within just a matter of minutes. However, for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to go back and we're going to select start from scratch. So after this, it's going to open up the workflow builder within your account. So now there's a couple things we need to bear in mind here in the workflow builder. We have a couple of tabs up here at the top, such as builder, settings, enrollment history, and execution logs. We have test workflow, draft and publish, save, and the history tab here next to the save button. So if we go to settings before we dive into the actual builder, you can see that we can change all of the settings within our workflow. We can do things like allow re-entry for contacts, allow multiple opportunities, stop once a prospect responds to our workflow. We can change the time zone. We can choose a specific time window this should be active in, and also set default name and email settings across our entire workflow. We can also view the enrollment history within our workflow, and we can also view the execution logs or activity logs within our workflow as well. So there are all the settings. If we jump back to the builder, let's get into building a test workflow, and I'll show you exactly how this works. So all workflows start with a trigger. And now what a trigger is an event that triggers the system and lets the system know that it needs to now start engaging and activating this workflow, or placing that newly created contact through this workflow so that that contact can start receiving the information that we want them to receive. So triggers can be absolutely anything. You can see here, once you click on the add new trigger, you've got a menu here on the left hand side with a bunch of different options, such as birthday reminder, contact changed, contact do not disturb, email events, customer replied, a form submitted, a survey submission, a video tracking, funnel/website page views, opportunity status, courses, payments, Shopify, community certificates, and much, much more. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we're actually going to do a form submission trigger here within our workflow. So what this is it's now going to tell the software that whenever a form is submitted, we want to bring the contacts that submitted themselves in that form through our new workflow. So here we have workflow trigger form submitted, and we can actually rename our workflow here by changing the name inside of this text box. However, the only problem here with this current setup is that the system is now going to register every single form submission across our entire account to then push contacts through this automation that we're about to build, and we don't want that. So when we're making triggers, we need to get hyper specific on exactly what the trigger is and the activity is that we want the workflow to be triggered by. So to do this and to get more specific, click on Add Filters. Click on the drop-down menu here on Filters. We're going to choose Standard Fields Form Is, and then we're going to select the form that we want the workflow to be monitoring. So now what we've done is we've narrowed down our form submission trigger to a specific form. So whenever this specific form is filled out, the contact that filled the information in and submitted this form will now be run through our newly created trigger and automation. However, for every single form outside of this test form or one will be ignored and won't be placed through this trigger and automation. Okay, so to save your progress, click on Save Trigger, and this will save your trigger as form submission here right at the top. So now what we need to do is start creating some actions that we want the automation to perform once this trigger has been identified. So to do this, click on the plus icon here, and this will open up a menu that we can select to tell the automation that we want these actions to be taken after the form submission trigger has been triggered. And this can be absolutely anything from creating a new contact in your database, assigning new users to contacts, sending emails, text messages, internal tools such as wait steps, if-else statements, ChatGPT integrations, opportunity status changes, payments being taken, appointments being updated, marketing such as Google AdWords information being changed, and much, much more. So for this tutorial, we're actually going to select send email, and we're going to have an email step be taken after this form has been submitted. So here we can see the action name is email. The from name of the actual email that's going to be sent is my name. The from email will be your email or a company-wide email. The subject will be the subject line for that email. And then the message will be the actual email itself that you want to be sent to that prospect. So for this case, you might want to put something like, hi, thanks for submitting your form. We received your request and we're going to get back to you in 24 hours. For the purpose of this tutorial, I've put, hi, test 1, 2, 3, James, as that's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to test your emails, you can test them down here in this test box. Just put in an email that you want to send this test email to, and then click send test mail, and it will send a test email to that email for you to preview that email and how it looks. If you want to add an attachment to your email, click on add attachment, and you can add a file to this email. To view the statistics of this when it's up and running, you have a statistics tab up here. You can view things like delivered, opened, clicked, replied, and bounced, as well as more statistics, as well as accepted, stored, rejected, complaint. So once you're happy with this, go ahead and click on save action. And now we're going to see we have an email step underneath our form submission. So now let's say we want to add a text message as well. So the prospect is going to receive an email as well as a text message from us acknowledging that we've received their submission. So we can change the action name up here of what we want the name of our action to be. We can select from a template if we have any templates pre-created. We can then fill in the SMS message in this box here. For now, I've selected the same message as the email. We can add any attachments. We can add files through a URL, and then we can test this by inputting a phone number and then sending a test SMS to that number. Once we're happy with this, click on save action, and now we can see we have an SMS action here underneath the email. So how this is currently set out is once this form is submitted, this user who submitted the form will receive an email, and then right after the email receive an SMS from us acknowledging that we've received their form submission. But let's say we don't want these to be sent at the same time. So we want the SMS message to be sent, let's say 5 minutes after the email's been sent out. Well, to do that, you can actually create what's called a wait step. So to do that, click on the plus icon in between the two actions, and then in here, scroll down to internal tools. And inside of internal tools, we can click on wait. And then in here, we can actually create what's called a wait step. So we can change wait to 5 and select the duration to minutes, and then click save action. And so now what this has done is it's created a wait step in between the email and SMS. So once a contact has submitted the form, they're going to receive an email. Then the trigger is going to wait 5 minutes, and then it's going to send the text message out to that user. And so that is how you create a custom workflow within your accounts. This is how you set up automations, and this can be done as many actions as you like. And you can go down different ways, different variations of actions. You can create if-else statements, mathematical equations. You can do all sorts within your automations to fully personalize them to your business so that you're tailoring the experience for your prospects to the best experience that it can be. If you wanted to add more actions to the end of this automation, you would click on the plus icon, and in here you could select any action that you wanted to. You also have some more advanced tools such as if-else statements, goal events, splits, go-to, math operations, and much, much more. These will be covered in future tutorials going more in depth. And finally, once your automation is ready to go, don't forget to name your automation up here at the top so that you know exactly what it is when you exit this automation builder. Don't forget to change it from draft to publish by clicking on this icon here. You can test the workflow by clicking on test and then selecting a contact to run through this as a test. And once you're ready to go and to start activating this trigger, click on the save button, and this will save your automation and make it live. So I hope this video helped. If you have any questions whatsoever on automations or the automation builder, please feel free to reach out to our team and we'll be more than happy to help.